Hi, hello everyone. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the fourth speaker today. So, before I begin, let me check your energy. Are you guys still awake? Okay, once again, louder. Are you guys still awake? Oh, thank you so much. So, let me tell you a story. A few years ago, there was a little girl who quietly gave up on the dream of performing on the biggest stage she had ever imagined. She was so close to her dream, but she let the fear of failing convince her that she wasn't enough. So she chose to play it safe. As years went by, the regret really started to weigh on her. So eventually, she regretted it. So sad, right? The bitter truth is the person who forced her to quit wasn't her parents, it wasn't her friends, it wasn't her coaches, it was herself actually. Why? Because she expected too much from herself. Over time, she became terrified of failure, of disappointment, and strangely enough, of possibilities itself. Have you ever done that? Well, not necessarily on a dance floor, maybe in an IELTS exam room, staying silent because you're so nervous and you're afraid of making a mistake, or in a classroom, choosing not to raise your hand even when you know the answer. Does it sound familiar? If it does, then you probably know the girl I'm talking about. Can you guess who she was? If you know, please raise your hand. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so happy that you can guess. And well, that girl would be me. A student once let her life be controlled by fear. Now, everyone, we make hundreds of decisions every single day. We make small and easy ones like what to wear or like what to eat. And we make big but hard ones like where to speak up, where to launch a campaign, where to aim for the leadership role. But what many people don't realize is that the most important decisions in our life are not made by logic alone, but by fear. You see, somewhere between childhood and adulthood, many of us learn to treat fear like protection. Fear just wants us to stay safe. It makes us imagine every possible bad outcomes before anything could even happen. Like, what if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I embarrass myself? And when we keep listening to those thoughts long enough, we just stop doing the same things that we loved. And even be honest, that was me too. Just imagine, I start overthink everything after that one dance competitions, the mistake I made, how people saw me, where I was good enough to continue. Fear just kept showing me the worst vision of the future. So eventually, without even realizing it, I just stopped dancing. Not because I lost passion for it, but because I was so afraid of failing again. And you see, fear did exactly what it was supposed to do. It kept me safe, it kept me inside a bubble where nothing could harm me, hurt me, or even disappoint me. But it also kept me from growing. Because when you stay inside the bubble for too long, you stop seeing possibilities. You stop noticing the doors that could lead you somewhere new. And that's the thing about fear. But how? How can I solve it? How can I get out of it? It's truly hard, but let me show you my way. Here, look, the joy. Now I'm gonna give you my own definition of joy. Joy to me is the feeling of being fully alive when you do something you genuinely love. It's the most honest form of being alive before your mind starts performing and before your soul starts negotiating. For example, a child reaches for a toy on a high shelf without calculating the risk of falling. Someone sings so loudly in a crowded room, just because they love the song more than they fear embarrassment. Or some of us read the book so deeply that we forget about the time, the noise, and even ourselves. And that's what joy feels like. It happens when our love just begins stronger than self consciousness. When, for a moment, we stop trying to impress other people and just allow ourselves to be fully present. And I realized that when I returned to dancing, I remember standing like backstage of like 1 month of avoiding it. My heart was still racing, my palm was still sweating, and part of me still wanted to run away. But then the music started and something unexpected happened. You know what it was? For the first few seconds, I was still thinking about the people in front of me, about how I looked, about my past mistakes. But then the rhythm just took over. I stopped counting the audience, I stopped editing myself. For 3 minutes, all I could hear was the music, and all I could feel was the movement. There was no performance, no fear failure, no comparison, just me and something I loved. And then I realized that for the first time in a very, very, very long time, I just felt fully present. At that moment, I wasn't dancing to win, I wasn't dancing to prove anything. I was dancing just because I loved dancing. And maybe your version of dancing isn't dancing at all. It can be writing, singing, or applying for a scholarship that you've always wanted. Whatever it is, I hope you don't wait until you become fearless to begin. Because trust me, joy doesn't appear the moment fear disappears. Sometimes joy appears the moment you decide to move anyway. And with joy, you can say, oh, I love it. I really want it. So I'm going to do it anyway. And now, let me make it clear. Don't get me wrong. When I say choosing joy over fear, doesn't mean that your life suddenly become painless or easy. In fact, some of the most joyful people out there still struggle deeply every single time. That's why joy is not toxic positivity. Toxic positivity says, ignore pain. Joy says, even with pain, there's still something worth living for. And I think the reason like why so many of us misunderstand joy is because society keeps teaching us to treat joy like a reward, something that we only deserve after becoming talented enough, important enough, successful enough. But what if, like, back to my story, standing there in the wing of the stage, I felt like my perspective of when to feel joy has shifted. I've spent years waiting for myself to be perfect to finally allow myself to feel joy. But what if joy was never meant to be the reward? What it was supposed to be the direction. Fear and joy can feel surprisingly similar in the body, including a racing heart, shaking hands, faster breath. So sometimes the difference is not the feeling, but the meaning we attach to it. Fear wants guarantees. Joy only asks for honesty. Fear avoids pain. Joy accepts vulnerability. Fear protects the life you already have. Joy asks you to discover the one you've not lived yet. It invites you to become a person more real. And that invitation is not comfortable. In fact, joy is very terrifying because the things that bring us the most joy are often the things that we care about the most. The dream you cannot stop thinking about, the passion you keep returning to, the person you want to be, those things just matter enough to break your heart. And that's exactly why so many of us want to run from them. Not because we do not want them, but because we want them too much. Yet, every meaningful part of my life began the moment I chose joy over certainty. Not because I knew I would succeed, but because something inside me felt more alive, moving forward than just staying still. And that's what courage really is. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to let what you love speak louder than what you fear. And have you ever wondered what if your life never becomes successful, admired, or extraordinary? Just imagine yourself years from now, not on the day of your success or not at the moment you achieve all your goals, but at the end of the life. When you look back, what you think will hurt more? The times you felt or the opportunities you never took, the dreams you never pursued, the works you never set? As for me, looking back, honestly, I don't remember like most of my mistakes. All I remembered was how empty I felt when I stopped showing up. And then I realized that the goal of growing older is not to become fearless. Fear will always have a voice. The question is simply, which voice gets the final vote? The voice that asks you to stay safe or the voice that asks you to be alive? And then, let me tell you what you can take home today. You know, fear just hurts for a moment, but regret can hurt for decades. And that's exactly why if there's one thing I hope you remember from now on, it is this. Fear protects the life you already have. Joy asks you to discover the one you have not lived yet. So when the moment comes, it will come. I believe that the bravest thing we will ever do is never say regret again. And from now on, I hope you choose your joy, the voice that makes your life. Thank you so much.